I'm Martin Smith with InterVarsity Christian Fellowship in Central Illinois. InterVarsity leads Urbana Missions Conference in St. Louis, and my job as a staff was to pray with students that would kind of schedule prayer meetings and had a staff that they wanted to pray for. And I got a big surprise on the last day because a student named Saeed sat down across from me, and he said that he was wondering who Jesus was, and that he gave me a little background, said he'd come to the conference with his girlfriend who was a Christian, but that he was a Muslim, and but increasingly during the conference he'd started to wonder if what he'd been taught about Jesus in his mosque was correct or not. And so we started by praying, and I had the clear idea while I was praying for him that I should read him John 17:3, which was strange because although I know the New Testament pretty well, I did not know that verse at all, and but I did. I read it to him, and it was a verse that was very clearly about Jesus being God, which was exactly along the lines of what he was wondering about, and that kind of changed the tenor of what we were doing, because rather than praying, he then pulled out his Bible, which was in Farsi, and he started to show me verses that he had been told indicated that Jesus wasn't God, and I gave him some explanations for how else they could be understood, and then I would give him a verse from John that would show that Jesus was God, and we went back and forth for probably 30 or 40 minutes, and then he was out of verses. And so I said, you know, we've talked about all your verses. Is there anything that would stop you from praying to God right now and asking for forgiveness and asking to become a follower? And there was a pause for a little while, probably close to a minute, and he looked down and he considered for a while, then he looked up and he said, no, I think I'm ready to do that. And so I gave a short prayer, and then I suggested that he simply pray to God and ask for forgiveness and talk to God about how he felt. I had the joy of listening to him to pray that Jesus would forgive his sins, and that God would start to shape his character. And he prayed out places like pride, where he knew that he was struggling with sin and knew that he needed character change. And he said amen, and we hugged and shook hands, and he walked off, and it was the last day of the conference, so I did not see him again. But I was totally rejoicing that I had no idea that afternoon when I started to pray with students that I would have the opportunity to pray with someone to become a Christian. So that was exciting, and again, thank you for the role that you play in partnering with us that allows things like that to happen.